It's actually quite mind-blowing thinking about how just 6 years after losing a generational superstar in Kevin Durant via free agency, and just 3 seasons after trading their superstar franchise point guard in Russell Westbrook, the Oklahoma City Thunder at this very moment are widely viewed as one of the strongest candidates to be labeled as the NBA's team of the future. Well, without a doubt, a lot of this could be credited to GM Sam Presti's knack for accumulating stockpiles of draft assets and evaluating raw talent. And while his chosen method may look chaotic and confusing to some, it's definitely hard to argue against the fact that Presti's masterpiece is actually starting to finally take shape. So what's good, everyone? It's Real Balls here, and today we'll look into how Sam Presti and the OKC Thunder have engineered arguably the craziest rebuild in NBA history. But before we continue, if you guys happen to enjoy the video, please do me a favor by hitting that like button or by clicking that subscribe button. It only takes a second of your time, but it will be much appreciated. So let's get to it. Entering the 2018 to 2019 NBA season, the OKC Thunder just came from back-to-back first-round playoff exits against the Houston Rockets and the Utah Jazz. However, entering the third year of the Russell Westbrook era, expectations for OKC continued to soar high as the team still really looked like legitimate championship contenders. For the season, Westbrook continued thriving while averaging a triple-double for the third consecutive year, while Paul George, fresh off signing a 4-year extension during the summer, did put together an MVP-caliber season by averaging 28 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. And with supporting players like Steven Adams, Jeremy Grant, and Dennis Schroeder becoming solid rotation pieces, it really seemed like OKC was trending in the right direction as they finished the regular season as the 6th-seeded team in a loaded Western Conference. However, in game number 5 of their first-round playoff series against a 3rd-seeded Portland team, Damian Lillard hit a last-second deep 3 to beat OKC, handing the Thunder the team's 3rd straight first-round playoff exit. Little did we know that this playoff loss would totally change OKC's direction as a franchise moving forward, as just a couple months later, after looking like a team that was just a few strategic pieces away from climbing up in the Western Conference's ladder, Sam Presti saw an opportunity to jumpstart OKC's retooling process by trading Paul George to the LA Clippers, and in return, the Thunder received an unprecedented draft haul consisting of 5 future first-round picks and 2 future first-round pick swaps spanning until the 2026 NBA Draft. In addition, OKC also received veteran forward Danilo Gallinari and incoming second-year player Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was soon to be anointed as the crown jewel of the Thunder's rebuild. And the writing was totally on the wall. Just a few days after the Clippers trade, OKC also shipped longtime franchise star Russell Westbrook to the Houston Rockets in exchange for point guard Chris Paul, together with 2 future first-rounders and 2 pick swaps. And while these initial moves that Sam Presti pulled off signaled the beginning of uncertain times for the franchise and its fans, it was also the start of OKC's road towards a promising future, and we saw glimpses of that future beginning in the subsequent 2019 to 2020 season. Well, the Thunder entered the year as a team with an intriguing mix of veterans and young players, but one that wasn't expected to be competitive. However, the Thunder's new-look roster definitely had other plans. Throughout the season, the team would mostly start a 5-man unit consisting of CP3, SGA, undrafted rookie Lu Dort, Danilo Gallinari, and Steven Adams. And this OKC team would go on to be a classic overachiever, finishing the season with a 44-28 record that would rank them as the 5th-seeded team in the West entering the playoffs, thanks to the career resurgence and veteran leadership of Chris Paul. And while OKC would once again lose in the first round via a hard-fought 7-game series against the Rockets, this season would verify what everyone expected about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being the future of the franchise, as SGA would average 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3.3 assists for the year. But Shai wasn't the only new guy making headlines, as rookie Lu Dort also introduced himself to the NBA with his tremendous playoff defense against James Harden, all while dropping 30 points in their Game 7 loss to Houston, making Dort only the 3rd 21-year-old in NBA history to score at least 25 points in the game number 7. And so, realizing that his young assets were starting to take off, Sam Presti again pivoted to making more trades that would finally shift OKC's vision into a full-on rebuild. That shift would all begin just a couple months later, as after one brilliant season in OKC, Chris Paul would be traded to the Phoenix Suns, and in return, the Thunder received a package consisting of Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre, Ty Jerome, Jalen Lecque, and a 2022 first-round pick. But this would only be the beginning of a number of moves during the 2020 offseason in which Presti would really start to turn up the volume in terms of acquiring draft capital. However, first up was the 2020 NBA draft, wherein the Thunder initially entered with a couple of late first-round picks at number 25 and number 28. However, they would go on to ship those two selections together with newly acquired guard Ricky Rubio to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and in exchange, OKC would receive the 17th overall selection in the draft, which would then end up to become 7-foot Serbian unicorn Aleksej Pokusevski. Then in the following days, OKC would orchestrate another couple of trades that would see them moving veteran players for future assets, and one of these underrated moves that OKC pulled off was trading newly acquired forward Kelly Oubre to the Golden State Warriors, wherein in exchange, the Thunder got a couple of 2021 second-round picks. And while this might look like an insignificant move, OKC would eventually use one of those picks to select wing player Aaron Wiggins, who currently looks like a sneaky underrated asset for the team. Then the following day, Presti would then proceed to ship big man Steven Adams to the New Orleans Pelicans as part of a 4-team trade with Denver and Milwaukee, wherein OKC would again add another future first-rounder to their stockpile of picks, in addition to receiving a number of players headlined by veteran point guard George Hill. However, the most notable addition from this deal happened to be Kenrich Williams, who has become a solid piece for OKC's current roster and who just signed a 4-year $27 million extension this 2022 offseason. Then subsequently, OKC would make one last offseason trade by shipping Terrence Ferguson, Danny Green, and Vincent Poirier to the 76ers in exchange for veteran big man Al Horford, 2020 draft selection Theo Maledon, and a 2025 first-round pick. And as the 2020 to 2021 season began, it was clear that the Thunder's rebuild had clearly kick-started just by looking at the team's opening night roster, which consisted of George Hill, SGA, Lu Dort, Darius Bazley, and Al Horford. Overall, OKC did show a lot of holes in their roster as expected from a rebuilding team, which resulted in a bottom 2 finish in the Western Conference, which is also largely due to the team shutting down Hill, Horford, and SGA at various points of the season. However, it was soon going to become apparent that all these acquired losses and mid-season tactics were just really going to help fulfill the team's tanking objective. Then, Presti would further double down on that objective as during the 2021 offseason, as expected, the Thunder would trade veteran Al Horford together with big man Moses Brown and a 2023 second-rounder to the Boston Celtics in exchange for veteran point guard Kemba Walker and Boston's 16th overall pick in the upcoming draft. And this would turn out to be another smart deal for Presti, as OKC not only did acquire an additional draft asset but also some added financial flexibility, because as it turns out, just a couple months later, the team would agree on a buyout with Kemba Walker, leaving almost $20 million on the table for the Thunder. Then came the 2021 NBA draft, and in his first offseason with a treasure chest of draft selections, Sam Presti went home with an absolute win of a draft haul. At number 6, OKC would shock the NBA with the selection of 6'8" Australian playmaking wizard Josh Giddey, whom a lot of analysts predicted to be a late lottery pick instead. After which, at number 18, the team would select 6'5" shot-making guard Tre Mann before drafting two other versatile players in big man Jeremiah Robinson-Earl and forward Aaron Wiggins at number 32 and 55 respectively. After this draft, it definitely started to look like OKC is finally planning to let their young core take full control of the court next season, but at the same time, the franchise also knew that they had to clearly establish the position of whoever was going to be the face of that young core for the foreseeable future. And so, the organization did exactly that by signing then incoming fourth-year player Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to a 5-year $172 million rookie max extension. Now, with their best player coming fresh off signing his long-term deal, OKC looked like a very competitive young team, especially during the first month of the 2021 to 2022 season, especially after getting two signature clutch wins against the LA Lakers. However, OKC would then end up with their second straight losing season, which isn't surprising at all after the team once again shut down their best players towards the end stretch of the year. But at this point, it really became apparent that OKC was on the verge of building something special for years to come. Besides SGA and Lu Dort, numerous young pieces like Aleksej Pokusevski and Tre Mann started to show flashes of becoming valuable team cornerstones moving forward. But arguably, no other player in the team that season made more headlines than rookie Josh Giddey because of the countless highlight-worthy passes that he made as a 19-year-old. All in all, it was a real phenomenal rookie season for Giddey as he recorded the 3 youngest triple-doubles in NBA history while eventually being selected to the All-NBA Rookie Second Team after averaging 12.5 points, almost 8 rebounds, and 6.4 assists per game. But there was more to come for the Thunder. It was only a matter of time before the organization was going to have their opportunity to strike gold, and that opportunity presented itself during the 2022 NBA Draft. After landing the 2nd overall selection during the draft lottery, OKC now had a chance to add another star to the mix, which they fulfilled by selecting Gonzaga big man Chet Holmgren, who was widely considered as the most talented player from his draft class. But that was only the beginning of an aggressive plan for Sam Presti, as from there, he would attack the draft with a number of strategic additions. To swing for upside, he acquired 6'10" French wing Ousmane at number 11 by trading 3 2023 protected first-round picks to the New York Knicks. Then, with their own selection at number 12, OKC went on to draft Santa Clara guard Jalen Williams, who was one of the top standouts throughout the Summer League and who actually looks like he could become a versatile weapon in OKC's rotation for a very long time. And from there, the Thunder capped off their draft haul by selecting another big man with fascinating two-way upside in Arkansas sophomore Jalen Williams at number 34. Well, without a doubt, Chet Holmgren's injury is a huge blow to the franchise entering the 2022-2023 season, but even with that, the Thunder already have one of the best young teams in basketball. And while the roster is still going to have some growing pains, without a doubt, this rebuild is actually starting to look like it's just a few pieces away from being completed. Well, I guess this is just what happens when a visionary like Sam Presti strategically looks at something and realizes that a more challenging path could actually pay off in a big way. So thank you guys if you made it this far into the video, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this is Rero Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.